About 900 years before Jesus was born, a lot of people worshipped a false god called Baal. God didn't like his people worshiping this false god, so he sent them a true prophet, a prophet named Elijah. Elijah was a tough man who stood firm on the word of God. One day, Elijah challenged the people. He said, "If the Lord is God, then you should follow him. But if Baal is God, then follow Baal." Elijah wanted to show that Baal was a false god, and that the people who followed him were doing wrong. Elijah told the prophets of Baal to prepare a sacrifice. He challenged them by saying that if Baal would set their sacrifice on fire, then Baal was a true god. But Elijah knew better. He knew that Baal was not the true god. The prophets of Baal accepted Elijah's challenge and called on Baal to answer their prayers. They prayed and jumped around, but Baal didn't answer. After a while, Elijah told them that their god might be sleeping, and they should yell a little louder to wake him up. The prophets of Baal yelled even louder than before, but no fire came. Then it was Elijah's turn. He laid out 12 stones, one for each tribe of Israel, and then dug a trench all the way around the altar. Before he started to pray, he did one more thing. He filled 4 barrels full of water and poured them onto the wood. The wood was so wet that it looked like it would never burn. Do you know what Elijah did next? He poured 4 more barrels of water onto the wood. How could the wood ever burn now? The prophets of Baal must have thought that Elijah was completely crazy. But Elijah had to do one more thing before he prayed for God to light his sacrifice on fire. He poured the barrels of water on the wood for the 3rd time. There was so much water that it filled up the trench that Elijah dug around the wood. Elijah didn't care how wet the wood was. He knew that God would answer his prayer. And now it was time to show those prophets of Baal who the one true God really was. Elijah prayed and the fire came. The fire burned so hot that it burned up all the wood, the stones, the water, and even the dust around it. When the people saw what had happened, they knew that Elijah's God was the one true God. They fell on their faces and worshipped.